Here's a car that other manufacturers really don't want you to drive, not because it's dangerous, but because it exposes something they'd hope you'd never figure out. Hyundai is delivering 90% of that German performance for less than half the German price. We're spending the day in this TCR edition on the full Grand Prix circuit at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and I think the results are going to be interesting. And by interesting, I mean that you don't have to pay Munich and Stuttgart prices for Munich and Stuttgart performance. What's it like? Let's go for a drive. I'm your host, Brian Makse, racer, lover of driving fast, fun things, and on this channel, you get reviews for drivers from drivers. Now, today is a different kind of day. We're taking the Elantra N TCR edition out on my home track, the Grand Prix circuit at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. We are taking this out on a live track day with other cars on track to really see how this stacks up. And given that this track is extremely fast, it's a great place to test the chops of this TCR edition. And before we get into what it's like to drive, let's have a look at it in a little more depth. When this car was announced, it was Canada only, which made Americans understand how the rest of the world feels about region-locked content. Now everyone gets to play. In the automotive world, special edition usually means some stripe packages and some branded floor mats. Hyundai started with their championship-winning TCR race car as inspiration and uses fundamentally the same body shell. And in professional motorsport, Hyundai's been embarrassing Audis and Hondas in actual competition for years, and they reverse engineered a lot of that tech for the street. The result is a car with genuine motorsport DNA, not a marketing department's interpretation of what motorsport should look like. Every component serves a purpose. The swan neck spoiler generates real downforce, the forged wheels save critical unsprung weight, and the four-piston brakes stop this thing like it owes them money. And fun fact, Hyundai says this makes the same horsepower and torque as the regular Elantra N, but we all know that cool badges add an additional 5 horsepower. There's a lot that goes into making an Elantra N, but it starts with a stiffer chassis than a regular Elantra. The engine's a 2-liter turbocharged 4, makes 276 horsepower from 5,500 to 6,000 RPM, and it's worth mentioning that the dual clutch has N-grin shift, which boosts power to 286 horsepower. It makes 289 pounds of torque from 2,100 to 4,700 RPM. Transmission choices are this 6-speed manual or an 8-speed wet dual clutch. It is front-wheel drive with an electronically controlled limited slip diff. There's a quicker steering rack here, and the assist unit is rack mounted. Suspension's based around McPherson's struts at the front, multi-link at the rear, and the dampers are electronically controlled. As I mentioned, 4-piston front brake calipers with 360 millimeter 2-piece rotors, single piston calipers at the rear with 314 millimeter rotors. Wheels and tires are 19s. The wheels are forged for this TCR edition. Tires are from Michelin. This one happens to be fitted with Cup 2s, which are a brilliant track tire. Curb weight of this one is a little over 3,300 pounds, and it's worth noting that the dual clutch adds another 114 pounds to the curb weight of this TCR edition. And shout out to my friends at 6 Gear for hosting an event that actually respects experienced drivers. Open passing, no artificial zones, and the freedom to drive until either your tires or your bravery give up. And in my experience, it's the way track time should be. Thanks, 6 Gear. Did you know that 80% of you are not subscribed? Yes, it's true. 80% of you are not subscribed. I checked the data. So if you like the content on this channel, do me a solid, hit that subscribe button, make sure you like this. And if you want to support the channel, please hit up our merch store. Links here, links below. Lots of great stuff for driving enthusiasts like us, including our very popular line of Save the Manuals merch. Now back to your regularly scheduled episode. Well, this has been interesting for an outlap. It's very busy, but gotta love this Elantra N. It's so easy to drive. And that's the thing. It starts with this seating position. It is so good. Seats are fantastic. Great interface to the steering wheel. Love the Alcantara steering wheel. And the pedals. Pedals are laid out perfectly. Ergonomically, I am set up perfectly. I mean, this is a street car after all, but these seats are incredible. Hold me in so well. The side bolsters hold you in during serious lateral G's like we're doing here, while the seat base keeps your legs properly positioned for aggressive pedal work. Most people think sports seats are about looking the part, but here they're about maintaining control when physics gets involved. The fact that they're also comfortable during commuting is just Hyundai showing off their understanding of real-world performance needs. Visibility is great too. I can see out the rear because the wing is nice and high, and those outboard mirrors are great. So I've adjusted them properly for the track, because I obviously don't need to see the side of my car, but I've adjusted those properly so I can see when we're on the straight. We can relax our hands, get ready for a shift, see what's going on behind us. And yeah, there's not too much going on behind us. Really can see that shift light. Love the way that works, because it's great because I can keep my eyes up ahead. This interior prioritizes function over fashion. The performance blue accents aren't there to match your sneakers. They're visual confirmation that you're in something purpose-built. Every surface you touch during enthusiastic driving has been considered. Everything serves the primary mission, which is to do quality work when you're behind the wheel. And speaking of things that actually work, every Hyundai purchased in Canada automatically funds pediatric cancer research. Not as a marketing campaign, not for tax breaks, just built into how they do business. $4 million in 2025 distributed to real hospitals treating real kids. Hyundai created a permanent funding mechanism that just works. Turns out you can have your Hyundai Elantra N TCR edition and help kids at the same time. No additional dealer markup required. The thing about this car, making not quite 300 horsepower, it uses every single one of those horsepowers effectively, incredibly effectively. I'm just getting 100% out of this car with no dramas. This turbo spools quicker than Twitter conspiracy theories and delivers more consistent results. The power and torque curves are perfectly suited for track work, and it actually feels like it's giving you some naturally aspirated response, but with that turbocharged torque, you can hold any gear longer without falling off the torque curve, which means fewer shifts and more time focusing on the important stuff like not hitting things. Very impressive. Gotta wait till the crest of the hill, and then we shift. Don't want to waste any acceleration. If you want to know about 0 to 60 times, we'll call it roughly 5 seconds. The dual clutch is a tick or two quicker than the manual. Top speed's about 150 miles an hour. Gearbox, so easy to shift. Very quickly, zero issues. Gear ratios seem pretty well sorted. This circuit's a little tough because we're climbing up this hill, but there we go, up the back straight, crest the hill and shift into fifth, and then back down to fourth for corner 8. Yes, the dual clutch is quicker, but there's nothing like a manual. Clutch feel, shift action, and for those of you who don't heel and toe, the ability to rev match transforms the driving experience from transportation into participation. And yes, the manual weighs 110 pounds less than the dual clutch, making it both faster and cheaper, kind of like getting paid to go to the gym. For fun, I picked up the throttle early, exiting 5B, just to see what the diff would do. And yeah, it was asking for a little much, but it wasn't a complete disaster. Very impressive, because it could have been a complete understeer mess, and it certainly wasn't. I've talked enough about this diff. Like here out of 5B, tightest corner in the circuit, just mat the throttle, and it knows exactly what to do. And it's because it's pulling data from all kinds of different channels to make sure that the torque is getting distributed appropriately to each axle when we're exiting a corner like that. That is just wild. And I gotta say, this gearbox is brilliant. It works so well. It is fantastic, so easy to drive. We got a handful of shifts over the course of a lap, but it's very easy to do that. Love it. I think this is the only front-wheel drive car here today. I may be wrong, but I think this is the case. We're going very, very fast here. Wow, just love this car. Turn and response, fantastic. The balance is outstanding. I've got so much confidence in this car. It does exactly what I want it to do here. So, of course, the 500 horsepower German car pulls away from us up the long back straight at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. But as soon as that driver brakes and turns the wheel, well, we catch right up again. And this thing has no trouble. Wow. It is so responsive. It's taken this Corvette like 2 laps to go past me. What are you doing, bro? Holy. One thing I don't have pace for is full-blown race cars. It's a little pointy, love it. Pointed on the throttle, on limit. The diff is just magic here, wow. Oh, touch the curb. Hit the exit curb. And there we go. We're doing about 140-minute laps. Not too bad. The real TCR does about 122, 24, something like that. So we're slightly slower than the actual TCR car. But this is a blast. And as you can see, we've already put one BMW M4 down. We're catching a 911. Well, that's interesting. Now, let's talk about dynamics, because that's where all of this is really coming together. Steering is incredible. Now, it does help that this N is fitted with some Cup 2s, so it's got a little bit more grip than the standard Michelin Pilot Sport tire that would come on this, but these Cup 2s are brilliant and helps turn in response, helps braking, of course, helps grip as well, and very, very happy with these tires. So thanks Hyundai for putting them on this car, but nonetheless, this car is so much fun in the corners.
Chassis tuning is the real highlight because I've got incredible control with a properly balanced front driver. Front and rear roll stiffness are perfectly matched, which creates predictable behavior at the limit. With a performance front driver like this, it responds exactly the way you want it to. Want to tuck in the nose a little bit? Just lift off the throttle. Want to get a little bit more rotation in the rear? Well, trail brake more aggressively. Wait for that rear to come around, then pick up the throttle and it sits down perfectly.
Which is good. This car is so easy to play with. And I do have to say that these brakes, I thought they'd make a difference, but to me, the brakes are the biggest difference between this and the regular Elantra N. I gotta say, I'm impressed with these brakes. They're incredibly positive. These 4-piston calipers are just outstanding.
The biggest difference here are those 4-piston calipers, especially in terms of their confidence when you're braking hard. This design distributes clamping force evenly across the rotor and the pad, and the 2-piece rotor construction allows independent thermal expansion between the hat and the rotor, something that we use in racing. That maintains consistent pedal feel over longer track sessions.
These brakes give me all the confidence in the world to slow this car, to adjust the attitude of this car. It is fan-freaking-tastic with these brakes. Absolutely love them. Canadian Tire Motorsport Park is not exactly billiard table smooth, but that is one of its charms for sure. And the fact that these dampers soak up all of these bumps, keeping the tires in contact with road, absolutely brilliant. But I think that the stiffer chassis of the N, for starters, because there's a lot of chassis stiffening going on, makes a huge difference, gives the suspension something to work from, a great foundation, and really impressed with it. But I just jumped in this car and I've been hustling this, and it is so easy to do. I love this. Easy to hit all of my marks. I think we'll look at my lap times later. Not terribly concerned with what my lap times are, but I do think I'm fairly consistent in terms of my lap time, save for the bit of traffic. And this car makes it so easy to do that. And I'm doing some incredible speeds here because this is not a slow circuit by any stretch of the imagination.
I have to say, this car makes the point that front-wheel drive doesn't mean understeer and frustration. The diff, the suspension tuning, the brake balance all work together to create something that responds to your inputs instead of fighting them.
I gotta say that this Elantra N TCR edition definitely feels more planted in the high-speed corners. That rear wing is no joke, and here when I'm hustling through corner 8, it's got lots of grip at the rear and it's still able to rotate. It is incredibly forgiving as well. This is very impressive, and in a lot of ways this makes me maybe look a little bit better as a driver. It's so forgiving. I can get away with some mistakes from time to time, and this thing just, I'll fix it for you, no worries. You can be a little sloppy and I'll take care of the details.
Sure, I got a little bit of experience, but I think this car is a wonderful tool to improve your high-performance driving skills. No doubt about that.
How do you spec yours? Well, it's a fairly simple question to answer. For my Canadian friends, well, all you need to do is walk into your Hyundai store and place an order. More on that later. For my American friends, well,
You no longer have to move to Canada for affordable performance cars. Hyundai just ended the regional exclusivity experiment. Turns out Americans also deserve nice things without paying German luxury prices.
your choices are color or transmission. You can get this in this Performance Blue, the Abyss Black, Atlas White, or Cyber Gray. And then your other choices are 6-speed manual, as this one's equipped, save the manuals, my friends, or the dual clutch.
US pricing has not been announced yet, but I think I can point you in the right direction. Base price of an Elantra N manual in the US is $35,100. Add $1,500 for dual clutch if that's your thing. But my guesstimate is that the TCR edition is going to cost you about $3,500 more than a regular Elantra N. In Canada,
Base price is $47,599 for the 6-speed manual. Add $1,600 for the dual clutch transmission, and these prices are before freight, taxes, fees, etc. And here's the deal with the TCR edition. It's order only, and this approach is brilliant. It eliminates dealer markups, regional availability issues, and accidental showroom purchases. Everyone who gets one actively chose to buy it, creating a self-selected community of enthusiasts who understand what makes it special. No inventory sitting on lots, no pressure to move units with incentives, no accidentally stumbling into ownership. And as far as I'm concerned, it's exactly how enthusiast cars should be sold. My verdict? Well, here's what those other manufacturers don't want you to know. The performance gap between this Elantra N TCR edition and 6-figure sports cars is more about brand positioning than engineering capability. Today we posted lap times within striking distance of those 6-figure sports cars, but more importantly, this TCR edition achieved those times using the same fundamental engineering approach. Proper weight distribution, great brake feel, chassis tuning that prioritizes driver feedback over comfort. The difference is Hyundai carefully engineered this car, applied the lessons learned from their championship-winning TCR program, and didn't add a 60% markup because of heritage pricing. What you're paying extra for in those expensive sports cars isn't necessarily better performance. It's brand prestige, interior materials, and the psychological comfort of owning something premium. But if your primary concern is how the car performs when you're actually driving it hard, this TCR edition just proved that Korean engineering has closed the gap completely. The manufacturers of those 6-figure sports cars built their reputations on exactly this kind of focused, performance-oriented engineering. And Hyundai remembered that on-track performance should reward driving skill, not bank account size.
thanks for hanging out with me today and having a look at this 2026 Hyundai Elantra N TCR edition. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, you're not new, you know what to do. Smash the subscribe button, turn on your notifications like this, and as always,
Sharing is caring, so please share this with your friends, especially on Reddit, because on Reddit, they really need to see reviews for drivers from drivers. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And if you want to support the channel, please hit up our merch store. Links here, links below. Lots of great stuff for driving enthusiasts like us, including our very popular line of Save the Manuals merch. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you again next time. And remember, cars don't understeer by themselves, not even Hyundai Elantra N TCR editions.